Let's talk about setbacks and failures. No matter how good you are, we all have them. LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, except for Montana, who went 4-0 in a Super Bowl. But we've all taken some losses. And the reality of it is, what you learn and what you do in those pivotal moments really shapes and define who you are. Me personally, when I go back and think about one of my biggest setbacks and failures and or losses, it came out of nowhere. 2007, my company had its best year ever. My privately owned travel club did over $27 million in sales that year. And it was a great year for our organization. Life was good. I was making great money, doing renovations and additions to my house. I had 4 cars, jewelry, you name it. And honestly, I was doing some frivolous spending because I thought that it was going to keep going. Fast forward 2008, and we have the credit crunch. And now my product is a product that we sell, and we finance it with as little as 10% down. So I went from having 5 sales centers in the contiguous USA to 1, and hemorrhaging money and owing money out of the yin yang, me and my business partner, who literally by the end of 2008, no longer being able to pay myself as we were on the brink of going out of business. And it was a reality check that I had to sit in and say to myself, coulda, woulda, shoulda, wish I would have saved more, wish I would have did different things. But in life, when we're winning and we're in that high, we're thinking about just the euphoria and how good it feels, how great it feels to walk out in the driveway and see that new shiny car or that new furniture. And one of the things I want to focus on in my mentoring program is the fact that you got to live for the day and enjoy yourself, but you got to plan for tomorrow. And investing into yourself is just that. That's what gave me the opportunity to really figure things out. I was in a narrow business market, focusing strictly in travel-related businesses. And it was pretty bad. I took some time off, and I was blessed to be able to afford to take some time off. But when you're not working and income isn't coming in, no matter how much money you have in the bank, every time you look around, that balance is going down. So it was a tough time for me. And it made me say to myself, I need to reinvent myself. I need to figure some things out. And luckily for me, I went back to some things I'd done prior. I went back to my past at EDS. One of my jobs in college was Holiday Inn reservations, working in a call center. I remember, you fill your call if you didn't say per room per night plus tax. And I was like, there's a way I can make some money here with some of the things that I've done. So I started doing international outsourcing. Earlier in my career, I went and helped start a call center in Bangalore, India, and got a chance to get indoctrinated with that culture. And I was like, there's an opportunity here for me now. So from the end of 2008 to roughly 2011, there were some lean and mean times for me with no consistent income. And really what it gave me the opportunity was to take some L's. They were painful, but it gave me a time to say, okay, what do I bring to the table and how can I monetize that? And I was able to fly down to Guyana, did some research all over throughout the world. I was able to partner with a guy and basically partner with 2 call centers in Guyana, the only native English-speaking country in America, and do some outsourcing and outshoring there. Able to go to Santo Domingo several times and enjoy myself and put some projects in there. And ultimately, again, you never know when those seeds you lay, when they're going to come to harvest. But who would have thought when I was out at my previous company and they couldn't afford to pay me anymore, the top-rated, the top-paid employee who made more than most of the partners in my origin story was true, that they would come knocking again. And some of the things that I had developed out of the country was one of the reasons we were able to reconnect. So you fast forward to 2011, and my previous owner and boss was struggling. They were still living on the database that they had did. They were paying for a lot of people. Things were, out of whack, and they were on the brink of making it or not making it. Ultimately, we were able to reconnect, and he was like, what are you doing? I said, hey, man, right now I'm living my life. I'm flying down to Guyana. I'm in Santo Domingo. I'm flying down to Caracas. I'm doing these different projects throughout the world, helping companies save money by outsourcing some of their income. Now, I know that's a tricky topic in America, but the reality of it is some of these opportunities that were given people out of the country were phenomenal for them. And it was allowing companies like the company I used to work for to stay afloat by offsetting some costs. I came back as a consultant. It was fun. I only worked Monday through Thursday. I had my Fridays off and a 3-day weekend. And I was able to help them offset some costs from a department that they've been out of whack from year by outsourcing that department. Ultimately, one thing led to another. And I was able to get offered from the owner to come back in a full-time capacity. Now, we talk about setbacks. What's the thing you learn from a setback? You learn not to make the same mistake twice, right? So when they wanted me to come back, I said, well, hey, let's talk. Because there's no way I'm going to be crazy enough to come back and work for you again in the previous capacity that I worked in before as your highest paid employee. Now, the reality of it is I want to make more income now that I made before. Because guess what I did? I sharpened my tools, I got more skills, and I brought more to the table when I came back in 2011. So guess what I proposed? Make me a partner. There's no way I want to be an employee again, especially when I saw how pivotal my role could be and how much they needed me. And after some consulting, fussing, discussing between the current CEO, were able to work some things out and bring me in as a 20% partner within the organization. So when you have a setback, don't let it be the end. Take some real ownership in what happened, the role you played, and no matter if it was your fault or we think it was someone else's fault, really focus on what am I going to get out of this loss? What keeps people going? What makes people's passion burn? Do you really think LeBron is still playing now because of all the people that thinks he's the greatest? No. He's playing for all the doubters, all the people who thinks he's not the GOAT. That's what makes him spend the time and the energy and the effort to really prove these people wrong. And that's how I felt. It was really great to speak to that previous CEO 3 years later after they had let me go and say, hey, we would love to work with you again. I was like, oh, would you? Of course you would love to work with me again. You have been able to replace me since I left. But guess what? This time it's going to cost you because I've gone out and I've gotten better and I bring more to the table. And the leverage that I had, I was able to use that to go from an employee to a partner. So again, the reality of it is in life, much like mine, I'm sure is the same. When you have some losses or some setbacks, don't focus on it. Don't harp on it. Learn from it. Take some good out of it and figure out what are you going to do differently that you didn't do the first time around. Go back to my previous mantra, no excuse is a good excuse. I didn't have excuses. Oh, they let me go because of this. They let me go because of that. This was unfair. This was unjust. You know what I said? I don't have any money coming in and I've got money in the bank, but it's going down every month. And I've got some skills and some talents. And if they're not applicable right now in Lakeland, Florida, there's someone on this big, beautiful earth who wants to talk and work with ATW. And that's when I got to be able to do more international things. And luckily, things. I still have some friends like Zach now who's in Toronto that used to work for me in Guyana and Berbice, and I was able to really focus on expanding my brand and making ATW not a Florida guy, but an international guy. And I was able to take that setback and that loss, and I was able to use it for some leverage to my advantage to come back as a partner. So again, let's focus on your mindset. And the mindset is you need to focus on getting where you want to go. And you don't have to get there overnight, and sometimes the road less traveled is the harder road, but you got to really focus on what can you learn out of that loss and then identify that and try not to make those same mistakes again. Now that you've heard all of that and you hear about the bad, let me tell you how I took that bad and I turned it around. Like I said, over a 3-year period of things not working out the way I wanted. And 3 years is a long time for you to figure things out. And don't get me wrong, I was making money. I was making good money, but not as much as I made before. And I was using that as the driving force to get back to where I was at. And what I really learned was you got to believe in that today is your day. And just because your business or your job is doing great today, there's no guarantees for tomorrow. I think we all realize that in life. And honestly, I wasn't thinking things through. That's one of the reasons I have other ventures that I'm involved with now that help people protect themselves in their future, in their family's future. And, we've got to realize that you got to learn that you got to be prepared for tomorrow. You got to be prepared and you got to prepare yourself, because just because you're in this job now and it's working out great doesn't mean they can't get bought out next year and now you start from scratch. You got to really focus on learning new skills, being mentored, and finding ways that you can become more applicable and more appealing to people in your industry and or different industries. The other thing that I say is that you got to really focus on, do you want to have more than one stream of income coming in? Because at the end of the day, there's more than one bill going out, right? There's a plethora of bills that are going out to your house every month. And unfortunately in America, we've gotten so easy to spend and so hard to save. Most people are in a very, very short window of financial issues if they lose income. So I was able to learn the hard way. Don't get me wrong, I'm just not preaching to you things that I didn't learn. I was able to learn the hard way to be better prepared for tomorrow. Take some aggressive steps when things are going well and live a little bit less to have a better and more secure future. I was also able to learn is how to make yourself more appealing. Find out new skills like I did. Find ways that when things change or when you have a review, what can you do to, again, go above and beyond. I think one of the things that I learned that really helped me was use the competitiveness to get you where you need to go. And what I mean by that is don't make the competitiveness be petty, like who can beat someone to the elevator. No, nothing that ridiculous, but let the competitiveness say, hey, I got a 90 on my last performance review. I want to get a 95 on this one. Let the competitiveness figure out, hey, my division finished third in the nation. What is it going to take for us to finish number one? What is it going to take for me to achieve and raise more? And no matter if you're an employee, you're a business, do some surveys, figure some things out. How can I make my clients and my customers happier with my services so I can retain more and keep satisfied people? I really learned the biggest thing was that you cannot guarantee anything. You got to be prepared for everything. And if you're walking blindly like I was, and most of us was, I had no idea that my best year in 2007 was going to lead us to practically being out of business the following year. Who would have thought it? It didn't make any sense. Typically, you live your life based on precedents. And what happened before gives you a foundation of what's going to happen now. And now I use that same precedence in my thought process. As quickly as you got it, as quickly as you can lose it. And what are you going to do? And are you prepared when something unexpected happens? Let me share something with you guys. I've got a book coming out, and I want you to really understand the title and how it applies to you in your life. And the title is called Just Because You're Defeated Doesn't Mean You're Done. And what that means is we're all going to have failures. I've had failures. Everyone's had a failure. Failure is a part of life. And everyone who really knows the successful people, and what makes them successful, they don't stop when they fail. Failure is going to happen. It's going to keep happening. And you got to ask yourself, how many more times are you going to sit on the bench, or are you going to get up to the plate and swing and try to knock a home run? Because you're not making any hits sitting on the bench. It's part of what's going on. And it's something you got to come to terms with. I've lost. I've failed. What am I going to do next? And what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to point the blame. I'm not going to focus on excuses. We've already talked about no excuse is a good excuse. What we're going to do after this failure, we're going to sit down. We're going to execute what's the goal of this failure. What did I lose? Did I lose my job? Did I lose my wife? Did I lose a business? What did I lose? Then we're going to set up a plan. How do I recover from what I've lost? Then lastly, we're going to execute that plan and work on redemption and coming back from what we've lost. Because again, we've all failed. Failure's a part of life. It's going to keep happening. And all you've got to do is keep failing to finally win. Now you got to ask yourself, why did I lose? How did I lose? And what did I learn from that loss? You got to figure it out. You got to spend some time, don't dwell in it, but you got to spend some time to figure out, why did I lose? And once you figure out why you lost, then we got to go to the next step, okay? Here's what I lost. Here's how I lost it. What I want to do about it. Do I want to make a comeback? Do I want to come back to be where I was at? Or you're someone like me, when I lost my job in 2008 and the income that I was making, and I started consulting, I was making okay money, but it wasn't what I was making before. So my why was, not only am I going to come back, I'm not going to make what I was making before I lost my job, I'm going to make more than what I did. Because in my mind, I felt like I wasn't earning enough before I lost my job. So you got to ask yourself, what's your why? And then we got to really break it down. And we got to break it down to 3 key steps. What's your goal? I lost my job. I lost my spouse. I lost my car. I lost something. Okay, now that we've identified it, now we got to devise a plan. The plan is, how are we going to get it back? Are we going to want to get back what we lost? Something comparable, something less, or something greater? Then lastly, we got to execute that plan. And that execution is critical for you to get where you need to go. Hey, I appreciate your time today with ATW. As you know, I'm Alan the Mentor. If you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for some guidance, you're looking for some help to get on the track that you want to get on, continue to follow me at alanthementor.com or follow me on IG or Facebook at Alan the Mentor. Click to subscribe and let's get started on your journey together.